I struggled so hard, and I have made so many videos trying to talk about in like 90 seconds why abolition as a feminist practice resonates with me. Then my sweater came in today, and what is more personal and more honest about like my belief than the sweater, which says more midwives, defund the cops, have a nice day.
Scholar Ruth Wilson Gilmore tells us that abolition is not about absence or the things that should not be. Abolition is about presence. What do we hope to see, and how do we bring it about? And this is what inspires and fuels me as an abolitionist.
As an African and Asian American person of color and the mother of a son who is also half Latino, I know, have always known, and been acutely aware of the tenuous value our lives are worth in this, our home country. And as a mother, I will fight to end all vestiges of a system that means to do harm in any and all forms to my son.
My name is Desiree.
Hey everyone, my name is Karen.
My name is Katie Morowski, and I am an abolitionist feminist.
I was loosely acquainted with the concepts of abolition and generally on board, at least with reform, but I did have my doubts about completely doing away with the carceral system. I first became involved with Triad Abolition Project this summer when they began their occupation of Bailey Park to bring awareness to the murder of John Neville. After that nearly 50-day occupation, I got to spend so much time with very passionate, intelligent, and driven activists, and basically became a complete convert to and a believer in the abolition of the carceral state in its entirety.
Working as a journalist covering the unjust slaying of John Neville at the Forsyth County Detention Center and the Occupy Winston-Salem movement, it really opened my eyes to what abolition is and what it could look like if we all truly decolonize our minds, and rethink how our current system, which is the prison industrial complex, doesn't work, isn't sustainable, and quite frankly, it's cruel.
I had always been an activist and passionate about social justice, but I was not able to fully grasp abolition until I met and joined this community of activists and abolitionists. The Triad Abolition Project was the bridge into full abolition for me. As I read, studied, and met community members doing the work of transformative, restorative, and healing justice, the possibilities for the world I had always hoped to raise my son in became real. They suddenly felt possible.
When I became a mother, the focus was no longer on fighting for what I believe to benefit my own generation, but to ensure that my son and generations that come after his are never again prevented or limited in their choices, but are given the opportunity to go and do whatever they dream and hope for.
I've gotten beautiful glimpses into what the world can and should be, modeled in sweet, deep, and true community. And often it's modeled and fostered by fellow feminist abolitionists, whether they would give themselves that title or not. And it's these women of the past, the present, and the future that keep me grounded and lifted in love and hope and make the struggle to getting where we want to go well worthwhile.
Feminism is an abolitionist practice, because if you truly believe that all femmes deserve equal rights and access and health care and housing and food, then you're going to abolish the systems that's preventing all femmes from getting their basic needs and their rights.
In a country where our prisons are privately owned, the incentive is not to find non-punitive ways to address the ills of our communities, but to gather and enslave as many of those they deem less than, to make the prisons as profitable as possible.
As a birth worker, to cut it to y'all real clear and concise, the hospital is to Black women what the police officer in the jail is to Black men. And bigger than that, this very field is lineage work to me. It belongs to my people and the people of this land. But colonization robbed it from the poor and turned it into this industry that it is today. And now people do not have access to the very people who were originally members of the community.
The prison system is nothing more than a money-making, forced labor, oppressive, dictatorial entity. In its current form, primarily to inhibit the growth of Black and brown power.
If we continue down a path that we have learned is destructive, we limit our overall potential as humans. The concept of the carceral system limits our potential as humans and holds us back on a fundamental level.
Abolition means a lot to me because as someone who's had incarcerated family members and who's had loved ones, killed and brutalized by police, it shows me that I have skin in this game. Like feminism, abolition is a woman-led movement, and it just shows that kind of incarcerating people doesn't only affect them, but truly affects their loved ones around them, like their mothers, their wives, their sisters, significant others, etc.
I also began to realize that although defunding the police and abolishing the prison industrial complex on its surface seems destructive, that at its core, abolition work is life-giving and restoring. And it's about not only reimagining what our cultural concept of crime is, but also addressing the root causes of harm in our communities, such as food and housing insecurity, education and health inequities, and of course, harm that's perpetuated by the state itself. It's about imagining ways to build communities where we are accountable to each other and we provide true safety and care instead of cages and control. And I am so grateful to be a part of that here in my own city of Winston-Salem and beyond.
Abolition embraces accountability. It is not just about defunding the police. It is about rebuilding our communities.
As a doula, I believe there is nothing more important than the community. I don't want to do it all by myself, but that's not what people hire me for. People hire me as another set of hands, as another set of eyes, as a member of their circle. And if we defunded the police, we would have a lot more room for improving birthing outcomes and getting our midwives that are legal midwives, not CNMs like you have to be in North Carolina. Anyway, I really can talk about all of this all day.
There is goodness that we've tasted and seen, but there's so much more, and we're building our way there to freedom, to thriving, to mutual care and community, and we're removing whatever dares stand in our way.
The struggle to dismantle our country's elimination-focused penal system didn't begin with my generation, or my parents' generation, or my grandparents' generation. So understand why there's no more patience to be had. Too many Black and brown lives have been lost under the guise of reform. Now is the time for abolition.
You're going to abolish white supremacy. You're going to abolish the police. You're going to abolish the patriarchy. Because all of these systems prevent Black femmes especially from reaching self-actualization. And when Black femmes are free, all femmes are free. Say it with me. When Black femmes are free, all femmes are free.